Welcome, Ammo.
Hello.
Please tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Um, my name is Ammo, and I am a musician, artist, person. I do lots of things. I don't know what am I supposed to say?
Oh,
Should I
what
list
bands you're in
everything?
now, if there's any bands in the past that you're proud to tell people that you were in as well.
I'm all, There's a long list of bands that I don't want to admit that I was in, but there's a lot of bands that I had a lot of fun in.
Mhm.
But yeah, I currently just silent mass. It's like my main project and just trying to keep focused on one thing because there's been times in the past where I've been in like 5 or 6 bands at the same time and it's just like a bit of chaos. Super fun, kept me on my toes, made me a better musician, that's for sure. Um, but I had another project kind of like indefinitely on hiatus. I don't know. But Brass Box, which was like super shoegazy type band. But that was a band I had when I was in Los Angeles, but now I'm in New York, so I
Okay.
had to kind of start over. So yeah.
Oh, nice. And then you also teach Pilates. Did you just mention that?
Yeah, I teach Pilates. I was teaching a lot more in LA. But not so much post COVID and all that stuff because the studio got shut down and kind of just like life change.
Right.
So yeah, I do Pilates, photography, filmmaker. Um, I'm into tarot and astrology.
Ooh, exciting. Oh my God. Wait, do you have a tarot deck nearby?
I do.
Can I get a can I get a special request? Can you draw one card for the rock goddesses as a group?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yes.
Hold on, let me just shuffle this up real
I
quick just so I
love
get
opening a
some.
tarot card.
That's so funny. I try to keep a deck just like next to my workspace, but sometimes they disappear. I have a ton of different decks. So I'm glad I had this one here because I was actually using it recently because there was a lot of crazy energy going on recently, um, astrologically. And I was like, what the hell's going on here? And been having to make lots of decisions based off of my album release and things like that. So it's just been like a little hectic. And so it's nice to just like have something to pull a card and just be like, what's the energy around this uh, situation? So, all right, here you go. I'm just going to cut the deck. My left hand and got judgment,
Oh, judgment. Do you
the
think that we
traditional
should
deck.
let the meaning be reflected by individuals, or do you have like a insight that you think would be um
Um, well, it's a major arcana card, so it's kind of like faded energy. And if you're thinking about like the collective of people, I don't know, it just feels like a culmination of something is
mm,
happening, it's like just it's time for people to kind of like step up and
ooh.
come to their like reckoning,
Oh,
you know?
yeah, that's super great to hear that because I actually had several rock goddesses write to me this week and tell me that they kind of like that's where they were energetically. They were like talking to people in their band about what was happening and um and like making like strong decisions to commit and recommit to their work. So, I love that we got that card. Thank you for
Yeah,
doing that.
yeah, of course. Yeah, it's a good card.
So, when did you first realize that you loved rock slash metal slash heavy music and that you wanted to create more of it?
Um, So there was like a very specific moment. A family friend when I was like super young. I don't even remember how old I was, but I was probably like end of elementary school, junior high. I don't know. Gave me a cassette tape of one side had Subhumans EPLP on it, and then the other side had Dead Kennedy's Frankenchrist on it. And that cassette tape was like the greatest thing ever. Um, I remember it was just like this gray, ugly cassette. I don't know. It might be floating around somewhere at my parents' house. Kind of bummed I don't know where it is, but yeah, that kind of just kind of started it all. Really big into like punk rock and like crust punk and stuff like that, and anarcho punk. Um, but that cassette tape went everywhere with me. I had a little like portable boom box. It was red and it had like that like a strap, like a cloth strap or whatever. You can just like kind of wedge your hand around it. And that was
Mhm.
always like in my backpack, just blasting. And then the like one side would end and I would just flip it over. And like both of those albums are like super short. They're like 25 minutes or something, I think.
Mhm.
So it would just be like over and over and over and over again.
You gotta find that cassette and put
I
it on
know.
your altar. That is a special object.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of the stuff went missing. I do have like a bunch of patches and things like that. I never really like wore the like uniform or whatever, but I did have a couple of like pieces of like like a dirt patch and like some other stuff. So yeah, so I got really into that. That was like a big turning point. And then uh, that same person, he was older than me too. So it was like someone I looked up to. He's like skateboarder, like super cool, like giving me rad music. And then gave me like a Ramones cassette tape too. And then I was like, all right, I'm in. This is
Nice.
cool. So
Mm.
yeah, so just got into music there. And then I did photography too. So I was just like going around shooting people. And then it was just musicians and weirdos and people who are just like looked cool. So I
Mhm.
just kind of fell into that whole world.
That is so cool. I feel like I was strongly impacted by some photography as a teen that was just like people being like out of uniform, I guess you could say. Um like let's see. They were sold at Hot Topic. They were these books of like Japanese like street people on the street, and they had like outrageous costumes on. I don't know. Sorry.
Oh, I'm trying to think there. I feel like there's a lot of sub genres of people who've like been documented, like the like 50s revival. I think that was might have been a
Oh,
Japanese
I know what you're talking about. And they like air guitar
uh
in the park.
what was that?
They like air guitar in the park. There's like a name.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about, but I cannot quite remember the name. But yeah, they all dance around and like they
Yeah.
have the hairdos and the
It's
jewelry.
it's important to have like people on the ground at that level finding those interesting things that are just like way outside the mainstream. So it would be actually really interesting to see what photography you were taking at the time that you were like getting into these cassettes. Um, but
Yeah, there's a lot. I have a box full of negatives, and I feel like with photography, I feel like I go back and the photos that I thought were like the best are not always the best. And, you had to really pick and choose because it was like negatives. It wasn't like
mm,
digital photography. So, you could only print so many and it wasn't like, I did a lot of my own processing and things like that. So then it
oh
would
my
be like pick
gosh.
and choose which
Hmm.
negative you wanted. And then you would print that. And then, but when I go back sometimes and, cause I've digitally scanned some stuff and I was like, oh, that photo was like horrible. Like, why did I not check, like, use the one next to it? So it's just kind of funny. It's like, I feel like it's the same with music too, where, you have to like edit yourself down or like any piece of art where you just like, in retrospect, you're like, why did I do that?
So true. So true. Oh man. So if your music were a movie soundtrack, what would the movie be about? What kind of style would it be?
Ah, it would probably be surrealist because I'm pretty messy in my head. I don't know. Probably be something like, I don't know, in a liminal state, walking the line between reality and maybe some sort of fantasy.
Hmm. Would this
situation.
is this like polychrome or black and white? What are we getting
Oh,
visual?
it would definitely be either high contrast black and white or some sort of muted, like super grainy color.
I think this sounds like a perfect pairing for your music.
Yeah,
Yeah, like a surrealist kind of like grainy, muted, or black and white, something where it's like kind of visually toned down, but conceptually turned up. I think that's what
sounds,
kind of a good metaphor for your music. So
yeah, I
nice.
like
So
that.
that's perfect. Yeah. If you could collect any three vinyl records of all time, which would you like to have?
You know, I don't really, I have a lot of vinyl. I downsized a lot when I moved to New York. But I don't really I'm not like, oh, I need to have this one thing. I feel like those ideas are such fleeting feelings for me where I'm like, oh, I need this right now. And then
Mhm.
like a week later, I'm like, I did not need that at all. So I feel like that kind of feeds into that space of like, oh, I don't know, I don't really have my eye on anything. I've had like friends give me like really killer records where I was like, oh, I didn't even know I needed that, but I think I need that. So
Hmm.
that's awesome. I don't know, anything by like Roland S. Howard would be pretty cool. Dead Can Dance. I don't know.
Okay.
Those are my favorites,
Two out
or
of
some of
three.
them.
We'll take it.
Yeah.
Um, if you could play your next tour with any three bands alive today, who would you choose and where? What would be a festival that you would like to play most of all?
Um, well, Dead Can Dance is still playing, so they've been the top of my list for like quite some time. Um, Maybe Brian Ferry. Or like if it was Roxy Music, but Roxy Music I don't think is playing. But I'll take Brian Ferry. Maybe like Massive Attack would be pretty
Oh, cool.
cool.
I could see you playing with Massive Attack. Yeah.
That would be amazing. But if you want to do like modern bands, Kaylin Mikkola is pretty cool. They're an Icelandic band. Um, yeah, they'd be fun to play with. I feel like I could make that happen, maybe. I don't know
Well,
if
you're
they're
gonna
listening.
manifest it now because you're like actually like making the plan and you're saying it out loud.
Right?
That's what I'm up to
Exactly.
over here. The whole series is about making girls cast spells.
I'm into
So
that.
what festival would you like to play most of all?
Oh goodness. There is this Icelandic festival that's like in like, but it's like a black metal festival. I like my music probably wouldn't fit too well there, but I don't know, maybe I could just write some music and they'll just like let me come and
Hmm.
perform like three songs or something. But like Growl Zone Fest would be pretty cool. Um, I don't know. I'm not like a festival person and I don't really keep up on it. And it's kind of funny because like I've been trying to work with some bookers about getting on doing like more of a festival circuit rather than having to like grind like road dog style.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's funny that I'm like, I don't know, whatever, I'll just play
Hmm.
anything.
Hmm.
But yeah, I know. I feel like because having a band is like running a business now. It's just like there's so many things to know that it's hard to keep up with everything. And I feel like the last couple of years there's been like a bunch of new festivals that have popped up
Hmm.
that I'm like unaware of. And I'm like,
Hmm.
how, and then all my friends are playing and I'm like, how, I never even heard of that. What planet have I been on?
I guess
Like,
that's a good sign because it shows that there's room for people to move to festivals from underground or just road dog, as you said. Um, but yeah, I think that actually then that was a perfect question for you. A query. Hmm. So, um, and I thought you were going to say a festival in Iceland just before you said it. So looking back, what was a big decision you made that turned out to be a great choice?
leaving Los Angeles for sure. I feel like I was kind of stuck. I grew up there. So I've always just been in music, art world, and I just felt a bit complacent. And then the pandemic happened, and it actually was like kind of a nice break because it was like hustle all the time, and
Mhm.
I felt like it was like forced quiet time, which was fine for like a minute, and then it was not okay.
Mm,
But I felt like it was like the right time to kind of rip the band-aid off because I had lived in New York a couple, my dad's family is from out here. And I've lived here off and on, just like kind of out of a suitcase and whatnot,
mhm,
and back and forth between the West Coast and here. Um, but I was like, there was like a couple of factors where I was like, I just got to get out of LA. I just have to rip the band-aid off before it's too late. And I'm starting to like, because it's so, I guess I was so ingrained there that it would just be like, oh, come play a show, come do this, come pop in here. It wasn't, and so I was just like, wasn't working on, I wasn't like actively trying to do anything because things were just like happening, but they were just kind of like middle of the road things. So um I
mm,
feel like I needed more of a challenge to like
mm,
do some stuff. So my partner and I moved to Northern California, like
mhm,
during the thick of everything. And I subletted my apartment in Echo Park in Los Angeles. And I just like could not give that apartment up. I
mhm.
subletted it for 3 years until
Wow.
like I was like, okay, I'm gonna give this up finally. I've been living, like, and when we were in Northern California, we were there for like a little bit, and then I was just like, I can't be
Mm.
here anymore in the forest with, I don't know, I just was like going stir crazy. So, my friend had moved into a spot that had a basement, and she was like, "Come to New York," and I was like, "I will definitely come live in your hat dungeon." She's a hat maker,
Oh, a
milliner.
hatter. Oh my God.
Yeah,
That
she's a Mad Hatter for
I'm
sure.
like way into hats, but let's keep going.
Oh, I'm going to show you some
Introduce
hats
me.
later then. Yeah. Um, so my partner and I, we lived in the hat dungeon for like 4 or 5 months. And then yeah, that was kind of like a nice, soft, easy New York landing, which isn't like pretty common.
No, it's
So now
not.
we're here. Now we moved to the upstairs unit. So instead of the basement, we're like in the attic.
Oh, I'm so glad you're still at the hat spot, though.
Yeah. Oh, she actually moved though a couple months ago because the
Oh,
basement was flooding from,
oh.
yeah, it was like one of those special, New York apartments that floods.
They all have a unique, special, different thing, each and every
Yep.
one.
Oh yeah, special. Very special. Fun to deal with.
So yeah, so the big move, it kind of helped you break out of your comfort zone, it sounds like.
Yeah, I kind of, because I had been, so the record that's coming out in June for Silent Mass, I'd been working on a lot of this stuff for like years. Like it
Hmm.
just was, and I just like couldn't focus on getting it done. And it was just like everything was there, it was all in front of me. I just was like super unmotivated. And I just needed to really like change some stuff up. So, um, and during the early days of the pandemic, when it was like super lockdown, my drummer, who's the drummer of Silent Mass, was we had played in multiple bands in Los Angeles, and he is a doctor. And so for his residency, he got sent to New York. So
Hmm.
he was already here, and I just love playing with him. He's like jazz drummer, just does really like unique stuff, and he's into like drum and bass and things like that. So it adds this like very cool, like trip hoppy kind of element when we like produce stuff. So he was already out here, lots of friends here, and I was just like, we're going to New York. So my partner, who's also the guitarist in Silent Mass, I was like, we're going.
Hmm.
So we came, and yeah, it was like I think it's a good decision because like now our record's finally coming out, and yeah, things are moving. So
You
good.
know, I think maybe 90% of the guests on the show feel like they take too long to make their album. So that is the normal way to feel. And everybody's album takes like multiple years. I have the same like worry. So it's like every time I hear somebody else say it again, I'm like, okay, this is just like how we do this. We worry, 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 and like a year later than we'd like, the album comes out. But
I mean, mine was like plus years, multiple, like 10.
oops. So what is your favorite gear and your favorite stage wear?
uh, let's see. Stage wear, anything business goth, I think. I like a blazer, maybe some ripped up fishnets, some winged eyeliner. I don't know, whatever.
Yes.
It's
Winged eyeliner.
it,
I wouldn't go on stage without it personally.
yeah. That or, sometimes I'll just do like a big like red like circle around my eyes. I don't know. Depends on how I'm feeling for the day. I'm very moody, so um I wait till the last second to get dressed and do my makeup, and then it's like a rush to get anywhere. And then sometimes I won't even do my makeup till I get to the venue, and it's like we're almost ready to go on stage. And I was like, how am I feeling right now? And then it's just like I'm very fast at doing my makeup now because of that, and always bringing changes of clothing. I don't know, just moody bitch. That's me.
What about gear?
Um, Gear. I think any gear that works doesn't break on me. I'm very happy with that. My vocal pedal, I like to be in charge of that. I've had too many instances where it's just been like, I'm fine with like dry vocals in the monitor, but if it's not like the sound that goes with the music,
Hmm.
you know, to the audience, I get a little like I put too much trust in that before. Let's just
Hmm.
say that. And so now I'm taking my power back and I'm using my vocal pedal to avoid
I
that.
just learned about this vocal pedal that doesn't just have like echo and I forget what else she said. It had four options on it, and one of them was dubbing. And I was like, live dubbing pedal? That sounds amazing. And like four
Hmm.
different things on it. I believe it's coming out in the episode that's at 9 tonight if you want to watch it
Okay,
with me.
I'm gonna have to peek that, yeah,
Yeah, I
for
know.
sure.
Honestly, everybody should be watching all the episodes for the gear question because the data. Um,
Right? I mean, I have
yes,
other gear. Like if you want to get super gear nerdy, I
go.
can definitely go there.
Let's go.
So obviously my whammy bar, I lean on that thing like the whole show. I'm like, at this point, it's like, I don't know what happened. It now squeaks like I don't know, something got tightened and then the thing squeaks, but because I have like so much um dirt like running through, like I have a fuzz war, which I absolutely love. And King Tone has this pedal called the Duelist, which is like a dual uh dirt pedal. So you
Hmm.
can just like, I have one that's set like as just like a nice gritty boost. And then I have one that's distortion. And then I can throw my fuzz on top of that. So then with the squeaky whammy bar, it kind of makes all these like sparkly noises in
Hmm.
because I play with a jazz master and I like my feedback and weird noises. So that's always fun.
That sounds super fun to watch come together live. It's not the kind of thing you can get from Spotify.
No, no, definitely not. I also think like what our live show too is a little more noisy and like dynamic because the recordings they weren't done live either. So a lot of the gear that I've gotten has like been post recording. So some of that stuff was like in the box and
Oh.
like not recorded through amps and things like that, and different mics, and some stuff was like demoed with I thought I was going to re-record it and then I was like no, this is going to go in, and then it's just
Mm.
like this album is such like a um there's like it's very unorganized but it came together quite nicely, so I'm pretty proud of it, but it's
Like
definitely a little different than our live show.
it's like your makeup routine,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yep.
what's a
So
performance memory that you'll never forget?
Oh man, like embarrassing ones.
Girl, you are
I have a lot of those.
self-representing. I'll let you choose.
Okay, so I had like a kind of like a post-punk band, I don't know, quite some time ago. And this show is so fun. It's kind of ridiculous. We were on tour and we were in Colorado Springs and we were playing just like a basement party. And it was this like really low ceiling. So we're all like, hunched. And I'm like not that tall. So, but we were all like hunched down trying to play. And that band, we could get pretty rowdy. So we played our set, and I guess it wasn't long enough for everyone. So they blocked us from leaving and made us play our set again.
What?
It was really, I mean, it was like all in good fun. It was like younger, it was like a younger crowd, and um, it's a house party, so it's like
Okay.
pretty good. So we played our set like twice, maybe even three times. I don't know, this is a long time ago, but it was pretty cool. But then we went upstairs and you just like crash where you can, and the house just smelled completely like cat pee.
I hate that. I
So
can't.
you're just like finding like an area where you're like not, I don't know, where you just like wrap your sweater around your face and you're
Yeah,
just like, I'm gonna just pretend. I'm gonna just like lay like a little vampire on the ground and
that's so not okay. I hate when
like,
people do that. Like, don't host if you're a messy person. Um, but
I
I
mean,
love,
I don't know. I feel like it's like in the US, like we don't have the support like in other countries. Like when you go on tour in other countries, you like get put up, they like give you a place to stay and you get fed. Like here, it's just like after, you play, you're like, if anyone wants to give us a place to sleep, we have
right.
sleeping bags, like that kind of
Very
stuff.
honestly, that is, I mean, it's funny though how the American grit will translate once you start working like in another country and then you have a whole new interesting set of issues. So do you have any new announcements for us?
Um, well, this Sunday we're playing at Our Wicked Lady, um, which will be fun.
It's a fun
And
venue.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Um, I like it. Everyone's really cool there, down to earth. It's just like not doesn't feel corporate or anything like that. So it's
Yeah.
always easy, sounds always pretty good. And yeah. So we're gonna play there. And then we have another single coming out in May. Kind of just doing the like runway. We're just like releasing a bunch of stuff until the record comes out in June. And then still kind of figuring out end of June, but we're having a record release party. I know we might have something around the 19th or 20th, not sure, but I know we are playing the 28th. For Stephen from New Colossus Fest has been doing these Friday night shows at Knitting Factory. So I think we're doing that one of those events, and then we're gonna do another New Colossus Festival daytime show in July. I don't know, just like scattered things. I
Yeah.
I
I'm
just like putting out the record has been so much, and I'm just like we're still working on a music video and like doing all these things. So it's just been like one thing,
Mhm.
I'm business
It's
goth
very,
lady.
it's very, very busy stuff for sure. And it's very dependent on timing.
Yeah,
Um, well, the record release sounds really exciting. Keep me in the loop for that because I'd love to come up for your record release show or
yeah.
party. Especially if you play somewhere that has like our Wicked Lady, if I remember correctly, has like kind of a great outdoor space.
Oh yeah, the upstairs is cool. That's where we're playing on
Uh,
Sunday.
yes. Oh, it'd be so fun to be at like a nice outdoor space venue in like late June to see a good show. That sounds super good. I'd love to do that. Uh,
Yeah.
anybody wants to go with me, let me know. Whoop. Okay, so where can we listen to your music and how can we follow what you do?
So I'm on all the things, except for, well, I'm working on TikTok's a work in progress.
Hmm.
I'm trying to like figure that out. I'm like, not, I don't know. We'll see.
Right.
But I'm mostly on Instagram, so for like social media and stuff, and have some videos on YouTube with the older singles, and we're on, Spotify. Bandcamp is great because, directly, we can connect to our people that way. But yeah, I'm usually just like Instagram. Bandcamp is like, and then we're on all the streaming stuff. And then, hopefully in a few months, I'll have pulled up my big boy pants and got on TikTok. And we have a TikTok, but I haven't. It's been one of these like things where I'm like, oh, I know it's so good. It's like a great way for people to find your music, but I'm not like a talking head type of person, So it's like hard for me to, I'm like, what am I going to talk about? I guess I have a lot to talk about, but I need to be prompted. So I don't know. TikTok's not like I need someone to like tell me what to do.
Well, I can email you a file of this interview and you can cut it up into shorts and post it on TikTok and then you don't have to do any work.
Oh yeah. I
Um,
guess
and
I need to just get outside my head and stop
you can
thinking
do
about
that
it.
on
And
YouTube Shorts and you can do that on Instagram Reels, especially if you make
yeah,
short ones. You already got
yeah.
a ton to say, and you've already said it and recorded it now. It's all been prompted. So,
I know.
okay. So you're on all the things, but kind of not TikTok. Bravo. Um, so we're gonna play a quick game. I'm gonna hold up two pieces of vinyl, and you're gonna tell us which one you wanna just say something about. It's all about learning about our foremothers, and we're gonna do it fast. All right, are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Dusty Springfield or Joni Mitchell?
Oh, I guess I'm gonna say Joni Mitchell.
Okay, that's probably good because I mean, who knows any Dusty Springfield song besides "Son of a Preacher Man"? Besides that, I people in the
I
comments.
definitely don't, and I feel like I missed the boat on like a lot of music that people know. It was like also like that in high school too, where it was like, oh, you didn't read the standard books, and I was like, no, I didn't. I missed the boat on the music thing too because I was just listening to like anarcho punk.
So, what appeals to you about Joni?
Um, Honestly, I don't know much about her. I know that I don't know anything about her.
Well, I'll tell you this. Her discography is a audio autobiography, and her like life started off real crazy where she got way too wrapped up in a boyfriend and had his baby and had to give it up for adoption. The boyfriend was a very famous musician. So for the rest of her life, she was like real jaded. So she writes these pretty little songs, but they're like so angry. So maybe some Joni Mitchell.
um, I think you've just inspired me to go listen to that. That's amazing. Who is the musician? Do
Who
we
cares? He's
know?
a man. All right.
The man with no name. He deserves
He
no
does not
name to be
deserve to
said.
be spoken of on this show. Patti Smith or Eurythmics?
Oh, that's tough. You know, I'm gonna go with the Eurythmics, even though I do like Patti Smith, but I also don't like her for some things.
Okay. Um,
uh, I don't know what else to say about them.
um,
I just didn't want to choose Patty, I think.
that's totally fine. The singer has some great solo work if you want to go deeper with Eurythmics. Okay, so I'm gonna give you a challenge. These are two contemporary bands, and I think you could play a show with either one. So good luck with this round. Hoaxed or
Okay.
LA Witch?
Oh, LA Witch are my girls. Those are my friends. So obviously I'm
Okay.
gonna say LA Witch.
You three should play a show together. Hoaxed. I
I
think you
don't know Hoaxed. I'm gonna have
so
to look them up.
Portland three-piece, all girls, fits as well with your music as LA Witch would, but I recommend listening to this album for the drum production because it's
Okay.
immaculate. It's
Okay.
the best.
I'm really into drums. You know how it's like really great drums is Chelsea Wolf. I love
Ooh,
all of their drum stuff. It's great. It's like I think it's like half electronic, half live, and just
okay.
sounds epic.
Joan Baez or Tammy Wynette?
I'm gonna have to say this is not my area of expertise. I feel like I know the songs that they have written, but I like cannot place it.
So Tammy is a part of the generation of, and it's totally fine if you don't, because you're just inviting the audience to learn more of my fun facts, which is a perfect result. So, Tammy Wynette was a part of the generation of country singer-songwriters that was like singing about no-no topics like divorce and all kinds of things she wasn't supposed to talk about. Your good girl's gonna go bad, for example. That's a song title. Yep.
Nice.
Good lovin' makes it right. So it's kind of like naughty early country singer-songwriter stuff. Where like there's a
Not
lot,
naughty country music. I like that. It's a
yeah,
good.
and the classic stuff, like not like the pop star, I can't think of her name. And then Joan Baez is like she dated some fucking guy for 10 years and then he got super famous and dumped her and then she wrote Diamonds and Rust that was covered by Judas Priest and
Right. Okay.
which is like kind of like preserved her in history. So I love that Rob Halford was like, I'm gonna cover this like pissed off, broken hearted woman's song. And like, so she's actually, her work is more relevant to a certain community of dudes, like the heavy metal dudes, than anything that her ex-boyfriend made. So,
That's amazing. I love it.
okay, last round. Coven
Okay.
or Kate Bush?
I mean, I have to go with Kate for sure. She is like, she holds a special place in my heart.
Do you have a favorite Kate song?
Um, I got really obsessed with what's the record? Is it the Kick Inside? Is that the one with the I'm gonna go into my iTunes real quick
The Kick
because I
Inside.
actually have it in my it's been a while. Yeah, the Kick Inside, that's the one with the really pretty album cover. Um, I just really love that album. I don't know. I don't have a special song, but I just feel like she creates music that is it's like a journey. So it's
Mhm.
not like just one's I mean the songs themselves are an individual journey, but it's like she puts these packages together of like just like an epic exploration in each
Yeah,
album. And she's such a storyteller, and the way that she writes is just, she just does it her own way. And I
yeah,
just feel like she kind of has her own rhythm and way of doing things. And she didn't really, I like how she just kind of did what she wanted to do. And
yeah. She absolutely did. And
yeah.
she's like, oh, I love her magical, like gigantic second wind of attention that she got with running up that hill. And
Oh yeah.
she deserved that. And then just like she barks the chorus in Hounds of Love or that song Get Out of My House where she's literally making like pig squeals that like death metal vocalists would be jealous of. Like she did it first. She did it way before death metal
I
ever
know.
came up with that. It was Kate Bush. So,
She really is just like a true artist. She's not just like a musician, she's just like
yeah.
a creative person.
Did you know that she once won a grant to go to mime school early in her career? And that is
I
how she,
did.
ah,
I
I love
did know
her. Yeah.
that.
Good. Everybody needs to
She,
know that.
yeah, she did mime school. Yeah, she's
Fabulous.
the one of, she's true punk rocker in my book. Just like did what she wanted and did things like a little bit differently too. So it's like you're always coming, like she was always like reinventing herself. Like same like any iconic musician is really good about like evolving and like, trying something different and kind of exploring that space to bring something
Yeah.
new into the art.
She totally pushed the envelope. I'm so happy to hear you speak about her this way. Makes me happy because I love her so much that I'm just like, oh, yeah, somebody. I mean, a lot of people have word for word said she's a true artist, but it's nice to
Yeah.
just like know that other people like really get into it. I mean, honestly, she's got her albums. I just don't need to skip any tracks. Like I want to hear it all, you know,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah. I
like
mean,
a lot more than I can say for a lot.
yeah, I do. I like really, really appreciate the work of an album. And I know we live in a singles world, and I'm not a single type of gal. I love albums. And you get that end of the year like Spotify replay. It always is like, you like albums. And I'm like, yes, I know that. I love albums. It's like, it's so important to me to like, I don't know. I just want to hear like a body of work that's cohesive and not just like a bunch of random things. Cause I want to sit down and like, especially like if you're listening to vinyl, you want to like put the vinyl on, sit down, listen to it, and not have to get up every 3 minutes to like flip the record, change the record, or do whatever you're gonna do.
Hmm.
It's like so. Um, I don't know. So every time I release stuff, it's going to be a record or at least an EP. I will put them out as singles, but they will always be compiled into a listenable journey from beginning to end. So it'll make sense.
And with that, it's Murder She Wrote. Thank you so much for coming on the show today, Amo, and spending some time.
Yeah.
Don't forget
Thanks
to
for
tell me.
having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. Don't forget to tell me when you're doing your release shows or parties.
Oh yeah, for sure. We might do a listening party of just the record, but I don't know. I haven't planned anything because,
Yeah, lots to do.
I just
TikToks to
haven't.
make after all.
Yeah,
All right.
that's last on the list. I'll get there someday, maybe.
All right. Bye.
It's good to see you.